Mute your mics. See, I told you we were already in there. We're going live. It's the Just North Sports Show. You know what it is. Turn that mess off. Don't nobody want to hear all that. Turn all that off, man. That's bad business. But anyways, you know what it is. You know what we do. Just North Sports Show. Like I said, every Friday night, 8 p.m. Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. On all the socials, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, everything. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what we do. Is Doc Jones got Candy Lynn coming back. Big E. Big E ain't gonna pull up in a minute. Got Greasy the Don, Coach DJ Dre, Juice Man, the Boogie on the highlights. I don't even want to get into no whole bunch of whatever whoop whoop whoop. Y'all already know what it is. All I gotta say is prime. And y'all know the action and y'all know the smoke. A lot of people say it's a sellout move. A lot of people say it's a boss move. And after careful observation, I decided that Deion Sanders is indeed not a sellout. And if anything, Jackson State sold him out. But ain't no hog all this action, so we got a good round table. So let's get it cracking. What y'all think? Don't be shy because y'all been foaming at the mouth since Saturday to get this cracking. I'm like, hold on, chill out. The story ain't going nowhere. Just wait. Sometimes it's best to be slow to speak. What it do though? I want to hear something. I want to hear something.
Hey, here it is right here, man. I'm splitting hairs between it. And no, I would never call Dion a sellout at all. But what I will say is this. I hate that the impact that he brought to the HBCU was short-lived. That's what I do hate. And I feel like in a way, in a small way, it kind of did the HBCU a disservice. And I say disservice because who else can you get in to come to the HBC, any HBCU, and do what Prime did? Prime brought media, he brought the attention, he brought everything to Jackson State, which then trickled over to other HBCUs. So he brought the awareness, but who could fill those shoes? Now I thought of some people that could be, I think that could be great leaders out there, like a Ray Lewis, a Shannon Sharp, Michael Irvin, those kind of characters. Not characters, but those kind of players with that kind of passion for the game. But none of those guys are Coach Prime. None of them are Prime. So I feel like it just kind of hurt because it's like, we got the light, we got the light, we got the light for like 2-3 years, and then boom. Now I feel like with Prime leaving HBCU, all that attention that everybody garnered that way, it's gone. It's gonna be out of there. What he did was what he always said he was gonna do. He didn't lie. He said he would entertain. And he has the right to entertain. He has the right to say, hey, I don't want to be here 20 years. I want my end game, because if we know the truth, he wanted to be where? Florida State. His alma mater. That's where he wanted to be at, but they didn't want him. They didn't want him. So he took the route that he had to take to get to where he's trying to go to. So if you look at it from that standpoint, he wanted to be at Florida State. He didn't want to be at Jackson State. He wanted to be at Florida State. So, yeah, he brought the light. He brought the attention. He changed the culture a little bit. And then it's in one breath, it's snatched away. And
Okay.
that's my take.
So
Right. As far as that part, I ain't done yet, but you can go ahead. I don't want to hog it all.
yeah,
But
I don't
that's
want to hog it all either. So immediately the first thing that came to mind was you said he wanted to go to Florida State. He didn't want to go to Jackson State. We all know Florida State is PWI. Jackson State is HBCU, right? Right there on the
correct.
same page, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, here's the issue I have with the whole I'm swag, no, he's not swag, and the whole narrative that he did a disservice to HBCUs. You knew he came from PWI and he did not come from an HBCU. Is it Prime's fault that he had the charisma and the gift of gab and the swag and the resume on the field to come and do what other coaches have not been able to do in the last 20 years? And this is not about taking a dump on the great Eddie Robinson and all the other coaches that have come before Prime. That's not what we're gonna do here. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna give Prime his props for doing what he did and being that figure that and having that charisma. Is Michael Irvin is charismatic or has the charm of Prime? Probably not.
No.
Ed Reed? Probably not. But that's what Prime is. That's what Prime does. Like at some point, you got to be like, you knew what Prime is, you knew what Prime stands for, and that's what we're getting. And at the same time, we had to know those that wanted Dion to be the next Eddie Robinson that was just not the play. That was just
Correct.
not the play.
I don't think anybody wanted him to be Eddie Robinson. And let me just jump in because with the Prime situation, it's kind of interesting because I've been connected in so many different ways to the story from the beginning of him starting with the youth sports because I am from that Dallas area and we have to talk about everything, right? He wanted to go to Florida State. His coaching technique and tactics and all of these things were in question, right? And I love Dion. Anybody that knows me knows that I've only ever rooted for Florida State because of him. So you hear that and you go, we're excited. But we were excited when he came to Dallas and created the charter school. And whoop, he was gone from there and the school was a bit of a disaster. But again, it's Prime. And in our culture, we're going to forgive you and we're going to make excuses and we're going to say, okay, cool. So then he gets the job at Trinity Cedar Hill, which was a private school where his sons went to school that a lot of people don't know. And when he leaves Trinity Cedar Hill, yes, they have 3 state championships, but they're no longer able to pay in TAPS here in the state of Texas. And they're no longer even a private school. They're a charter school. Okay. So then we're excited. We're like, okay, Dion wants to coach at the collegiate level. Florida State didn't want you. Jackson State says, you know what? We'll take one. As you said, he's charismatic. He's Dion. He's primetime. We know he brings the money. We know he brings the fans. He brings the entertainment. I was at the SWAC championship last year when Jackson State played Prairie View. The stadium was rocking. But at what point do we as HBCUs stop welcoming you in because we know you're going to leave us in a bit of a disaster? Because whether we want to admit it or not, this is what Dion does. He comes in, he messes it up, he walks out. So yes, he's done a lot for the culture, but he also destroys things along the way.
Candy, so you don't think he left that program better than what it was before he got there?
I think that we're going to see NCAA fines come down from them at some point. I think that he made the locker room improvements. He made the improvements to the football practice field. I think there are a lot of great things that he did. But I'm just saying overall, what he has a tendency to do is to leave a mess that's never really uncovered until he's gone behind. Because this isn't the first program he's done these things to. So as an HBCU graduate, would I want to see a Ed Reed or a Michael Irvin? Should we extend our platforms to be stepped on for you to get to your higher calling? Should we allow you to continue to use us? Because we weren't good enough for you to go to school at, minus Shannon Sharp. But now, when you need us, we can help you out. Because they said they wanted you. Now we're supposed to help. We because you got a little money, we're supposed to take you back because we love you. And I'm happy for him. But when we look at it as an overall perspective, if it wasn't Deion Sanders, would we have the same attitude about it?
No.
If it wasn't Deion Sanders, would Jackson State and any of the HBCUs getting the light that they're getting, would they have gotten that light?
It's not. Hold on. I'm Texas Southern. Hold on. We're not gonna sit up here and say that Deion brought all this light to the HBCUs. HBCUs been there, been putting out talent way before Deion got there. So we're gonna stop that train right now.
In 2023, ain't nobody been shining no light on no HBCUs. Come on,
I agree with the Don. We're still here. Like ESPN,
we still here.
Coverage.
Nobody's
the game has been on ESPNU. He didn't bring any extra media coverage.
Nothing.
ESPN covers the games on ESPNU. I worked ESPNU in college 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So people are just now knowing
nothing this way.
So y'all are saying right now, both of y'all are saying this right now, that the talk about HBCUs has not been rammed up since Prime has been at Jackson State.
The conversation is rammed up, but do you see the
That's
divide
what
that
I'm
is
saying.
created?
So that's bringing attention. That's bringing
He
attention
brought
to
attention.
He brought attention to Jackson State.
Jackson
He didn't-
State,
he
not
didn't bring-
HBCU.
Yeah. He didn't
Jackson
bring
State.
TSU
That's
no
it.
attention.
So the reason I say the reason I group them all together is because yes,
Why are
people
you
talking
putting them
about
together?
Jackson State. Well, because yes, people are talking about Jackson State, but guess what Jackson State is? An HBCU. So now
But that's
kids
not
who don't-
Texas Southern.
So
That's
now
not
who-
Texas Southern. That's not
So
Prairie
now
View A&M.
kids that don't know anything about HBCUs can say, what is an HBCU? And then somebody can go, well, we have 2 or 3 of them in Houston. We have a couple of them in Dallas. So you can start talking about other HBCUs.
But why weren't we already talking about them as Black people? Like, why did
That's a
we
great
need
question.
Dion to tell us to go back to our universities? Some of this is us as a people.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
We want to ride the wave of
Thank
what
you.
Dion said. HBCUs have been here. My grandfather went to an
Thank you.
HBCU. Prairie
Yes, he
View's been
did.
standing.
Thank you.
This ain't nothing new.
Thank you.
Well,
ESPN
Candy,
been
ain't
covering
nothing
this
new
with-
in
with
our
championship.
family.
Thank you.
It's-
So the problem I have with the whole Dion being a sellout thing is that Jackson State has been an institution of higher learning since 1877. That's
Yeah.
145 years, people. So maybe your priorities are in the wrong place if you can't get the equipment and the things necessary to deem a sustainable and competitive football program. Maybe you shouldn't be focusing on football.
Well, let's talk
Because
about
if one man has that much influence over the training facilities and the fields and the things, again, they're keeping score, people. Because if Deion Sanders was 3-15 or 3-27 and getting beat 55-6 every week, they would have fired him. Period.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
exactly.
Okay.
Agreed.
So after 145 years of being an institution of higher learning, we as Jackson State and HBCU alums and Black people have not found the revenue to sustain football fields.
Well, it's hard. It's
that-
hard when Brett
that-
Favre is taking it from the state.
That's a big issue.
Funding is the conversation that we need to be having about HBCUs in the states for state-supported institutions withholding the funding. There are legal
Yep,
battles that
that's-
take place all the time that no one knows about. So for us that graduated from the HBCUs, this is all a joke. Like Dion is a savior. No, Dion needs to call his boy Brett
Thank
Favre out for stealing money from the state of Mississippi, giving it to Southern Miss, because that was $5 million that Jackson State could have had, or Mississippi Valley
Mississippi
State
Valley.
could have had, or
Thank you.
Alcorn
Amen.
could have had.
Amen.
Those aren't the
Amen.
only schools that are in Mississippi where Brett Favre, your NFL homeboy, is stealing the money. There's
Agreed.
a bigger conversation here.
So
That
let's try.
didn't just start with Brett Favre, though.
So let's try this. Walter Payton's an alum of Jackson State, right?
He is.
Greatest running back of all time.
Jerry Rice went to Mississippi Valley State, right?
Greatest
Yeah.
receiver of all time.
Shannon Sharp went to Savannah
Savannah
State, right?
State.
Savannah State.
That's correct.
Joe Green went to the University of North Texas, right up the street, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And these are all players that haven't been in college for over 40 years, some even longer than 40 years. Why and how did it even
hold on,
get?
wait.
Why and how did it even
Let's come.
get?
Let's come a little bit more this way, Doc. Let's talk about Michael Strahan,
Strahan.
Yeah, okay, it's Michael
Texas
Strahan.
Southern.
Michael Strahan, Texas Southern. He's in that bunch too. There's a list of players. Doug Williams, Grambling. Why and how did it get to the point to where one man basically has HBCUs and this whole dynamic in the situation of where he was the plug and he ran off in the plug and it'll never be the same. That's not a shame on Dion. That's not a look what you did to us, Dion. That's a HBCU problem.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I think everybody sees the minimal, or we want to call people out. We don't talk about we're talking about Dion because Dion is Dion, and the media chose to follow Dion. Deion got a job because Jackson State said, you know what? Ashley Robinson, the athletic director who was at Prairie View, got the opportunity to get Deion in this position. Because without Jackson State, Deion wouldn't have had a platform of this magnitude for us to even have this conversation. So we can keep talking about these HBCUs and what they don't do. Deion came in looking for an opportunity so he could go elsewhere. And
wasn't that already? Didn't he put that out though? That was already out there. So
he
it's
also
not like
said
him coming there
by God
to stay for 20 years.
He didn't say he was sent to stay for 20 years, but he was sent to the HBCUs to make a difference. Deion is having a problem based on what Deion said. It's not really that he left, because coaches leave. As he said, they get eliminated or they elevate. That's the reality.
That's true.
That's the reality for all of us on a job. We're not going to sit somewhere and be complacent when we're goal-oriented and we know how we have a higher calling. My issue is with Deion and everybody else, you were getting love from people who embraced you. You're now in Colorado and you're seeing that black people are like, you'll go over there with them. If your son has one bad game, they're going to dog you. As soon as they get an opportunity to fire you, they're going to fire you.
That's the dynamic I was speaking of, though. That's coaching. That's the name of the game. That's the nature of the beast. No, it's not. If this was Amazon, or if this was a paramedic, or this was a board meeting of a nonprofit organization, it wouldn't be this issue. They're keeping score. Again, if Deion was 6-31 and he was getting beat 55-7 every week, they'd have ran him out of town. You're not SWAC. So the problem I have with it is that it kind of seems like we want to have our cake and eat it too. You knew he was PWI. You say he's not SWAC, but at the same time, it's like some of the narrative is that it's your fault. Look what you did. Look, in coaching, as the man said, it's like, look, you either produce or we're going to get you up out of here. So we as a people, we can't have our cake and eat it too. And I feel like a lot of the sentiment and a lot of the narrative is greed and selfishness. Period. That's just me, though. They're keeping score. Again, they're keeping score.
I also think that the issue that our people have is that we're looking for a savior. And they saw Deion as their savior because of all of the success in such a short amount of time. And they want to keep that success for their schools. And now that, I think he also messed up when he said this was God's calling, and now he's turning his back and he's going to another school. So it feels like he gave Jackson State, false hope now that he's leaving them. So that's why their feelings are hurt.
How did they? Okay, question. How did he give them false hope? Again, he never committed to being there 15 to 20 years. And a coach can only sell you minimum. Look, when you get a good recruiting class, it's going. And I keep explaining this over and over and over again. That's the problem with Texas A&M right now. They got the number one recruiting class, the best recruiting class money could buy. And it's not going to translate. And it did not translate this year. So let's say Deion gets 7 5-star athletes next year. The fruits of that tree will not be seen possibly maybe for another 2 or 3 years. And if he doesn't go out there to win, he can't sell that kid on a job he may not have if he's not winning. And that's the crux. That's the issue I have with it, that nobody seems to be talking about this dynamic, and it's right there up under our nose. They're keeping score, people. Like, if you don't win and if you don't produce, they're going to run you out of town. And the narrative would be exactly the same thing it is now. He never was SWAC. He never was one of us. I got a big issue with that. If I go to a kid and let's say I'm a hot shot recruiter or a hot shot coach, and I go to King Dre's son's house and I'm like, Dre, this is going to go down, this is going to go down, and we're going to be playing next to this person, and we're going to be playing next to this person, and he's going to come in as a freshman, he's going to get a little bit of playing time. By the time he's a sophomore, he's going to be starting. By the time he's a junior, he's going to be a Heisman. Dre says, okay, he signs that dotted line. Well, our star quarterback gets hurt, and he's out for 2 years, and none of this happens, and I'm fired halfway through the second year. That's just what you signed up for. I can't promise Dre what's going to happen 5 years from now as a coach because you can only sell them as far as your record indicates. And here's the dynamic. Here's another part of the dynamic that people seem to be missing. He started winning. He started winning. You name one other coach that started off kind of like, 6-5, maybe, then went to 8-4, and then they went to 11-0. They move on. They move on.
It's tough. It's tough. And what we also have to look at is this. The man is decorated, right? So yeah, who wouldn't sign Deion other than, if you had the chance to sign him? Florida State didn't want him. But guess what? Jackson State like, hey, why not? So you don't think that Jackson State in their mind going, man, we can get Prime? We can get Deion? Do y'all know who this guy is? Do you know what he is? What type of person he is? What he's going to bring to this campus? Hell yeah. But they also knew that he wasn't going to be there for 10, 15 years. So you just got to take the good with the bad. That's just how I see that. You got to take the good with the bad. Hey, he was here. It was good when he was here. He gone. We got to move on. We have to move on. But Greasy, man, it was a game we was talking about, right? And it was a Mississippi Valley State game, wasn't it? And you said, what did you say was wrong with that field?
Man, that field looked a hot mess.
Okay, so it looked a hot mess. So the question we was all trying to figure out was, like, what's going on? Didn't the great Super Bowl winning MVP, Hall of Fame, Jerry Rice go to school here? Like, what's up with our people not giving back to the
I'm gonna have to go on. I'm gonna have to side with my cousin on this one. Love her to death. We have to dig beneath the surface. We seeing everything from surface level, and that's all we see. There's reasons why alums, prominent alums like Rice and Walter, God rest his soul, and even a Mel Blunt down there at Southern, or Michael Strahan. Well, hold on, that's a different story. But I'm not going to put him in there. There's a reason why prominent alums aren't giving back. Or maybe they are giving back. Maybe it's misuse of the funds. That
so
goes on a lot.
We should shame HBCUs for misusing the funds.
What was that?
That goes on a lot. And then another thing.
Repeat that again for me one more time, please.
Misuse of funds. Not only that, just like Candy said, as far as, these are state schools. It's an issue at the end of the day with the money. And so we talk about good old Brett Favre. All that money that whatever happened with that could have been channeled to those other 3 schools out there. And it's just not that, but it's a multitude of things. This is our DNA, our culture. We quick to point the finger at a lot of things. We're quick to point the finger at. But in the end, we need to fix what we're doing. First off, we need to fix what we're doing. Before we can start stepping out and pointing fingers.
We do.
And that's the biggest issue with our community. When I say our community, the Black community, I'm not going to say African because those people don't say European. So I'm going to say with the Black community, that's our problem. And like Candy said, I hate to piggyback off her, but I love her. No one else wanted to give you a shot. And it happens outside of sports. So I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. It happens outside of sports. when they don't want you, guess who you have left to turn to? Us. Now we happy and we ecstatic that you here. But you didn't give a damn about us. Like she said. You
hold
got out
on.
there early, bro.
Hold on.
Out there early that if a Power 5 came calling, he was gone. And you had
no. I'm not talking about that. I'm piggybacking off of what Candy said. You could have went to Florida.
Give a damn about him.
Wait. When he was a young man, he could have went to Florida A&M. He went to Florida State. And this is the problem that we have as a community. We think that the HBCUs aren't good enough. My kid is a good football player. Well, have you checked out an HBCU? Oh, well, he won't get seen there. This is 2022. If you're that good, if your child is that good, the NFL is going to find you.
Now that I can agree.
We are quick to talk down and turn our noses up at the HBCUs. I see it every day. I hear it every day.
That I can't agree upon. We got a couple people commenting in the comments, so we want to definitely give a moment to acknowledge what's going on. Erin Malie Shelley, she says, we can't really be mad at him for making those moves. They're legacy moves. And at the end of the day, and I strongly agree, he's looking out for his career and his seed. We all remember what they tried to do to Warren Moon when he came out of college. Some idiot redneck wanted to turn him into a defensive back. Warren freaking Moon, people. Joe Gibbs found Doug Williams at a Burger King. At a Burger King, people. And brought him into Washington, and we know what happened with that story. And Cedric Lewis commented, he chimed in, he said from day one, he told him what the move is. It's like when a Power 5 offer comes, it's going to go down. Jerome Hargreaves, he chimed in. He said it works both ways. It's like, if you're losing,
I want to talk
about, if you're losing, they're going to run you out of town. And if you're winning, the offers are going to come.
And it don't matter what level, though. That's the key. It don't matter, HBCU or not. If he was not winning, they would have fired him.
Exactly.
But TCU told him no last year. This is another conquer and divide. Do we understand why we're even having these conversations? Alabama said, we don't want you. Texas said, we don't want you. We built HBCU so we didn't have to hear people tell us they don't want us. We're not good enough. And so in this process, once again, we continue to see, yes, they keep telling you, Deion, because that wasn't your only interview. Colorado was not your only interview. You took the Colorado job because that was your offer. There are other people, even after winning, still looking you in your face, being Deion Sanders, telling you when Jeff Saturday is now a coach in the NFL that you're not good enough. So with HBCU graduates, our issue with it is you went to the middle of the field. You told Eddie Robinson Jr., you are swag. You turned it into a song. You turned it into a charade.
But that's prime.
Get you up out of here. Swag stays loyal to swag.
But that's prime. Hold on, time out.
And so he deserves the criticism.
Time out. But that's prime, though. This is a dude that gets on TV and says 1/3 of the earth is covered by water, the rest is covered by me, baby. You knew what it was.
That's Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson.
No, Prime said that back in 91, baby. Come on. But anyways, it's like you go up to this lion cage and you dangling this raw piece of meat out of him and you bite him and he bites your hand off and now you got trust issues. No, idiot. Leave the lion alone with dangling meat. That's Prime. You knew what it was. Stop acting so shocked and stunned when you knew what you was getting in bed with. So
but that's what HBCUs were built for, is to create opportunities for us. And I think that for those of us who stand firm with it, our understanding on the whole thing is different. We don't turn us away, right? There's no reason that Florida State, we've seen what record that they had, that Deion wasn't good enough to coach at Florida State. Don't tell me. We were shocked. Like, Deion can't get a job at Florida State. Y'all suck.
I think here's what really gets lost in the whole conversation. Here's a dude that was told no by his PWI because he didn't have the credentials. And he went so to speak, home, and he got his credentials, and he came back, and so to speak, now he's ready for war. And
Let's
for
go.
that, and for that alone, he should be commended. Now,
Let's go.
now
Let's go below the surface.
Now let's go. Hold on. Now let's go back to the whole I am swag, and
He ain't swag.
he ain't swag thing.
He ain't swag.
He's really not.
Yeah, he's not swag because he wasn't even there long enough to have a warm cup of tea and a hot piss before they stole from him. So if I invite you to my house, Candy, and we chilling and Dre, we all having this good old time and all this stuff, and and something yours come up missing, are you gonna feel welcome?
Let me tell you why. I went to the HBCU. I went to the HBCU ready for them to steal my stuff.
Candy, answer the question.
I'm just telling you.
Would you feel welcome?
I'm just telling you. You knew,
But that
you knew
didn't
you were
happen
going to war.
during a home game.
Would
That
you
didn't happen
feel-
during a home game.
No. What we're not gonna do is we're gonna move the tree. It's a simple question. If I invited you somewhere or told you that if I invited you somewhere and it was under my watch and something of yours came up missing, yes or no question, would you feel welcome?
I just don't feel like that's we didn't invite you. You wanted a job. You went into the jungle. So when you go into the jungle, you got to be prepared for what goes on in the jungle. And the Don knows. You didn't go to TSU thinking that everything was going to be gravy. You know they'll steal from you.
There's the problem. Admittedly, it's the jungle. That's the problem.
This is real. This is real life, right? These are real numbers. Colorado has theft on campus too.
I understand that.
Exactly.
I understand that. But yet,
he's not gonna post it on social media when he gets robbed.
I understand that, but yet no one is still answering the question. Would you feel welcome, yes or no, if you were invited somewhere? Because they put the job offer out there, so
he wanted a job.
Tomato, you were invited, right? Because
let's get past this question.
It's an offer. No, because I'm trying to bring something home. How the hell are you supposed to feel welcome somewhere where they're stealing from you? And you want me to represent you for the next 20 years, and I ain't been there long enough to take a warm piss, and you didn't stole from me? Where they do that at?
Well, you saying that, but that wasn't at a Jackson State game that happened.
He was in his office. They took it out of his office.
No, they took it out of a coach's office I forgot who they were playing.
On the road.
On the road. That did not happen at Jackson State.
I didn't welcome you on the road.
Let's not start no rumors. Let's not
on the
start
road.
rumors.
You in enemy territory. That
territory.
Happened.
Like she said, you're going into a jungle.
You're going into a jungle. Like when you come, you know they may do that. Like they do it at other campuses. I live here in the heart of Texas, where I read the reports of what go on at the University of Texas. They ain't gonna tell you when you're doing recruiting. They still here. They rape people here. They drug people here. They overdose on campus. So the HBCUs are no different. We just understand because I am SWAC and I was primed to go to the HBCU. I knew what I was getting myself into when I went. Nobody sold me a dream.
Okay.
Hey, can I ask a question for y'all? For all of y'all.
I got one too to follow up, man.
All right, I got one quick question. So if Deion got denied one job at Florida State, he got denied a job at Alabama, is he supposed to stop trying to get a job?
No, absolutely not.
I'm not going to keep going to the same company applying.
Oh, no. This is what I'm saying. So watch this. He went to the white school to get a job. He got denied once. He got denied twice. Let's say he got denied 3 times. Okay, fine. I'm going to go, the black school got a job open. I'm going to go apply over here. Is he not supposed to apply for that job?
I'm not saying he's not supposed to apply, but what I'm saying is the Power 5 is telling you no. Okay, this is like applying for Amazon over and over again. They don't want you. That's what they're telling you. And I think no unpopular opinion, as a woman, I see it as men chasing women. She told you she don't want you, but you keep showing up. She done told you that for 16 years. She don't want you, she don't want you, she don't want you. So eventually you figure, I'll wear them down. At some point, I'll have enough money so I can get her. At some point, I'll be good enough. And that's how I view this thing. They told you no. The HBCU welcomed you with open arms. And as soon as you got an opportunity, you went right back over there for them to mistreat you.
But remember,
so whatever goes on
he
and
said
happens
it.
with you now, we as African American people, we don't care. As much as I love Deion, when they fire you, because they're going to, right? What other coach besides Eddie Robinson has a statue on a campus?
Which is
Name me
why
a football coach.
which is why he left Jackson State.
But name me
I
another.
would say this.
Which is so in one hand you're saying this is what's gonna happen to you, so get ready. But he's ahead
Jackson
of the
State
game.
wasn't gonna fire him like that.
If he
Black schools do not get rid of their coaches. If you see, that's the reason why Prairie View had the longest losing streak in football history. Because we don't get rid of our coaches as quick.
I
haven't
had a
I'm
chance.
glad Candy said that, because I'm finna answer a question I'm finna answer a statement that Greasy was talking about. So when I was in high school, I'm watching HBO special and I see Prairie View on there, 0-80. And in my head, I'm going, why in the hell there is nothing attractive about going to Prairie View. And when I came through, I didn't know anything about TSU. I heard about it when Marcus went there and he talked about it. But other than that, I didn't know anything about TSU. And I had somebody trying to get me to go to Prairie View, but I'm like, there's nothing attractive about going to a team that's 0-80. 0-80? I don't want to go there. I wasn't watching them on TV. So for me, no, I didn't have a great introduction or a great outlook on HBCUs. I didn't know there was an HBCU in Dallas. I'm not ashamed to say it. And I'm pretty sure it's a lot of other people that did not know about all these HBCUs. Do I wish I had went to
say
HBCU?
that in my family.
Oh, great. We can't. Everybody wasn't in tune with the HBCU. So you can't charge that to everybody.
But why?
You don't know, bro. I didn't even know.
So let me ask you something. Since you're not in tune with the HBCU,
I was not. When I was in school, I was not.
That's going to be your justification.
Y'all black teachers came from?
I don't know where they came from. We didn't have any. We went to an all-white school. We might have had like
we had a few, but I will say this. As I say with a lot of things, it's your responsibility to grasp.
You can't tell me to look up an HBCU if I don't know anything about anything about an HBCU.
It is your responsibility to grasp that information if it's not given to you. These are the type of things you learn at an HBCU. No one is going to give you anything on a silver platter. So if you didn't have any knowledge of an HBCU, you should have took it upon yourself to do the necessary research to put yourself in a position to attend that university. Yeah, they're 0-80, 0-89. That's fine. You could have been very well the difference maker. Now, I want to trend back on Prime. If all these white schools are telling me no, the best course of action for Prime, I understand the theft at an away game, understand them breaking into your son's car on campus. I get it. How you put it back in their face, but see, he wouldn't know this because he attended Florida State University. Marcus Green attended Greasy the Don, Texas Southern University, Candy Lynn, Prairie View A&M. Since they weren't giving you the opportunity, your best thing to do, since you were getting all the blue chippers and all the top of the line athletes, you build your team. You said you didn't want to go out there and play them for the fact of getting blown out for this small check. But what you do is, once you have your team built, you go out there and you whip their ass. That's what you do.
Okay.
So therefore, I'm saying he took the wrong course of action.
Okay. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like I was saying before, you know, we even jumped in here. I get what you're saying. And I've had time to listen to both sides. But just with what you just said, kind of reiterates the point that I'm saying. He's not swag. He's PWI. So so if you know he's PWI and you know he's making this move to go back to a PWI and a Power 5,
Why
Well
give him a job?
Why
My
give
thing-
him a job, and why be surprised when he leaves?
Because
No one is
that's
surprised.
why we're
I
I'm
don't
saying-
understand that. You can't.
that's why we're
saying-
here.
It's like
That's what
when they
HBCUs do.
it's like
That's what we
it's,
do. We love our own. And
it's
that's
like-
the thing in the culture. Everybody keeps saying, why would you hire him? That's the point, y'all. If we don't look out for each other, nobody's going to look out for us.
It's
And to go along with what Marcus said, what we've been taught is, okay, you won up in Alabama now. You go take all A recruits. Now you got an opportunity to really put it in their face and become a legend really quick where they real mad. They real mad because you getting these kids this culture. You're teaching these kids to love themselves is what an HBCU teaches you. It teaches you that can't nobody reject you and you go back to them. Ain't no job gonna fire me and I'm gonna go back and reapply to work for them.
You right. And
So
they're not going
these
to
are
turn me
things that
away
we
from the
teach.
beginning.
HBCUs can't afford
And we're not
those
gonna tell you no.
scholarships. Can they afford those scholarships? Let's be honest. Because
Yes, they can. They have a list of. They have NCAA scholarships. There's an allotment. So when you talk about Prairie View, we got the death penalty. Also, nobody wants to talk about that. We got a really harsh death penalty.
I never heard of that. When did that
Yes.
happen?
You should do some
That's
research.
what's doing the losing streak.
That's
Doing
why it
Loose
occurred. We had started
Yes.
winning. The enrollment was high in the early 90s. Nobody talks about that. If you remember on A Different World, The Cosby Show, Snoop Dogg, the rappers, everybody was
you.
rocking HBCU gear. The
Yes.
enrollment was extremely
Yes.
high. You went in and you killed Prairie View's program for minor infractions. We didn't have scholarships. I chose to go to Prairie View in 2000. We weren't winning still. We broke the streak in 98, but we still didn't have like 16 scholarships. And those African-American males that play football there, they are now coaches. They're now coaches because they went and got their degrees. That's what attracted us to Prairie View. And I'm a kid who mom and my dad and my grandparents said, Prairie View is good enough for you because look at how you live. So for me, Prairie View was always good enough.
Okay, so let's put this on the other foot. Now let's put the shoe on the other foot, because what I'm gonna have a hard time doing is making it seem like Prime was the boogeyman when he told you he was the boogeyman, and then he stole your cookies and you upset. I have a hard time fathoming that because you knew what you was getting into bed with. Now let's look at it from this perspective. We can't turn a blind eye for the good things that Prime did for Jackson State as well, right?
Correct.
Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
My question is for Greasy and Candy, what would be the appropriate thing for Prime to have done in that situation? What do you think is the right thing for Prime to do if you're so against him making this move to Colorado?
Good question.
Well,
go ahead, Marcus.
As I previously stated, being the nature that me and Candy have coming up in, even my parents, Grambling, mom and dad, the appropriate action for college football is all under one umbrella. Those D1 schools, these white schools, I'm gonna say what it is. For you to be denied so much, you could have really put a footprint in the heart of the South. Like I said, you getting all the blue chips, you stealing everybody's recruits. Now you go play them and you beat up on them.
How long was it gonna take him to get these recruits though?
He already.
He got him.
He got the number one receiver,
and he was gonna get others. There's a lot of kids that
men.
There's no guarantee that was gonna happen.
But it was.
It was happening. It was
happening.
That's why your boy at Alabama was so upset. Nick Saban.
Nick Saban was mad. But they knew he was coming, right?
They knew he was coming. Okay.
They knew.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I felt like it would change too.
But do you see what's going on in basketball right now? The SWAC is beating up on the Pac-12 in men's basketball. So we're getting some wins in. Now, I guarantee you they'll put pan.
Basketball is a whole different dynamic, though.
But it hadn't been happening.
It hadn't been happening. Ain't been answered though.
So we got to get the recruits. We've got to get our kids to start going back to our universities. And if you remember, I know everybody loves football and likes to forget and thinks it's so long ago. Y'all, they use black men. That's what the NCAA does. You're only good enough to attend our universities because you make us millions. We wouldn't be having a conversation about this had the Deion Sanders not gone to Florida State and made them money. So you sold jerseys, you sell stuff You take from us, but you give us nothing.
So you don't think that happens? You don't think HBCUs have had players that went out there and ended up getting hurt and they were discarded like yesterday's trash, just like they
No,
do at the
because
white
they
school?
No,
keep their
that doesn't
scholarship.
happen.
Oh no,
That doesn't
no,
happen.
you
They
no,
keep-
you
That
gonna
doesn't
nah,
happen.
I get it. I mean,
I
That does
was
not
around.
happen.
It
okay,
does not happen.
I'm
You
gonna say
keep
it.
your scholarship.
I'm gonna say it like this. I love black people. I am black, but you're gonna have a hard time convincing me that there's never in the history of HBCUs been a black athlete that went out there and got hurt, and the university turned their back on them because they couldn't play ball no more.
That's
You gonna
not
have a
how it
hard
works.
time. You gonna have a
That
hard time
doesn't
convincing me of that. It doesn't
They
happen
find
ever.
their-
Wait,
Ever.
wait.
Ever.
Just a second. Hold on.
Come on,
Hold on,
Greasy
y'all.
and Candy. I get it, but come on, man.
Ian asked the question, and the question has not been
Not been
answered.
answered.
That's what I keep
I
getting at.
answered the
Ray.
question.
They never
No.
answer the question.
Ian,
The-
can you
the-
ask that
the
question
specific-
again, Biggie? Biggie,
I
can
answered
you
the
ask
question.
that? I didn't hear an answer.
I said the specific. I specifically said the best course of action for Dion would have been to stay and continue to steal these blue chips, these top end recruits, like he's been currently doing. Then, when he plays the Alabama, you whip their ass.
So,
Now
So
you can
so
take it
let
as
me
a that was the best
let me
course of
interject
action.
a couple of points.
go ahead.
Let me interject a couple of points when it comes to Dion in this regard. A lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people don't know about it. But Dion had a pretty serious health scare during his time at Jackson State, where he had his foot amputated. Dion is what, about 55 years old? He doesn't have a lot of time on the clock to sit up there and reboot Jackson State and all the HBCUs.
Not
so now
his
he's making them
responsibility.
mad, and it's not his responsibility. So what he is doing, and I would see y'all's point if it was this. Let me interject this real quick. If he was going to Colorado and leaving everybody behind, screw all y'all, I'm done, I'm out, I'm going to Colorado and get this money, I would totally support what y'all are saying right now. But that is not the move he's doing. What he is doing is he is taking, first of all, he donated a portion of his salary to redo the facilities in Jackson State, right? And then if you look at his 60-minute interview, what he said was, I have a responsibility to these coaches that I have working with me to make sure they're taken care of. Dion doesn't need the money. But Jackson State cannot pay his coaching staff what they're worthy of being paid.
Come on,
Dion,
man.
if he goes to a Power 5 school, he has the ability to take care of his teams, his colleagues, his coaches. That's what he's doing. So he can't sit by and play these games back and forth and be the savior of HBCUs coming off a health scare where he didn't even know if he was going to be able to coach, walk, or whatever impact he was going to do. Right. So now he's making a move to say, hey, I'm going to at least make this move and secure the people who helped me get here. And that's what he's doing by moving to Colorado. And I don't think it's anything to do with HBCUs, him disrespecting the cause. Yeah, he ain't SWAC, but at the same time, he is SWAC. For those 3 years, he was SWAC. He brought all that attention to SWAC. College game day, when was college game day ever at a SWAC game?
No.
When was 60 Minutes
That
ever
was only
interviewing the
because
Black College?
No.
You can't-
Only because Dion.
Hold on,
That's
wait.
the key
60
word.
and it
minutes.
wasn't for
60
Jackson
minutes.
State.
60 Minutes visited.
It was for Dion.
60 Minutes visited HBCUs many times. Prime was not the first.
Exactly.
For
And this
football.
was about
I will
we
say
keep
that.
we keep going back to
Yeah, other than interviewing Eddie Robinson or somebody like that.
this, but it goes back to this is about Dion, and I think that's what people are missing. Stop making it a he's a savior for Jackson State. Jackson State existed
who said
before
he-
Dion. They're
We're
going to
saying
exist
that
after
he
Dion.
was.
No, we're
He saved that football program.
I won't even say he saved that football program. For that 3 years he was there, he changed the whole dynamic of Jackson State University. He brought attention to all the issues that were affecting Jackson State University.
Hold on, wait. Hold on, wait. He didn't bring no damn attention to Jackson State University.
You lost your mind.
Wait, hold
Lost
on,
your
wait.
mind.
Are you gonna let me finish?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me finish. Jackson State is one of few that sells out every home football game. Sell out. Not partial, sells out. They were selling out before Dion got there. So let's get that straight. So he didn't bring a crowd. He didn't bring a crowd. Those fans been there.
He may not have brought a crowd to Jackson State because they were selling out.
He brought
Every
millions.
everywhere he went to play an away game, did they not sell out?
Nope. No, they did not. No, they did not.
Didn't. They didn't have a higher crowd than ever before for a Jackson State game.
So
no, people go see Jackson State. They went to Jackson State. Like,
thank you.
Other people are showing up on the sidelines.
When he came to Houston, there's no way in hell you're gonna sell out Dynamo Stadium. It's not. They didn't even reach the second level. There you go.
But
what
was
kind
it
of
the
record did
biggest?
Jackson State had before Deion?
You don't even know.
Thank
I don't
you.
know.
Wins and losses. That's
How
the
many
dynamic.
championships did they win before Deion?
That's the dynamic. There you go, King Drake.
Wait.
That's the
You
dynamic.
can
Wins
scream
and
all
losses.
day about what's their record.
I'm asking.
The only record I'm concerned with is Texas Southern University.
Okay.
Go
We're not-
Why you mad at
but
Deion then?
we're not-
Go
but we're not-
Tigers.
we're not talking about Texas Southern.
I'm
We're
trying to
talking
get to a
about
point here.
we're talking
The point
about
is-
Jackson.
Let me make this relevant. Ask me the record of another NFL team, but I damn sure can tell you the record of my Las Vegas Raiders.
But I
Thank
googled it
you.
for you.
But
They have
that's
18.
what I'm
This
saying.
is their 18th. This is
And
their
I-
18th SWAC championship.
And I-
Deion
Okay,
is not
so,
again.
listen.
Jackson State had Walter Payton and Jackie Slater. They had a
Thank you.
team.
We're
that's
not
in the
talking
NFL
LA
about-
Rams,
we're not
Hall
talking
of
about
Fame.
40 years ago. In the
It
past,
doesn't
in the past,
Oh,
in the
they
past
got
2 years.
18 SWAC championships. This
Okay.
ain't the first. These ain't the first two they didn't win.
No, and when were the
So it's
last,
not like
when were
they've been in the
last one they
SWAC
won
dying.
before
Let
you
her
won
talk,
this too?
Dre. Dang. Let her talk. Go ahead.
I heard what she said, but I'm trying to bring it to a current period of time. In a current
Okay,
period
how
of time,
current do we want it?
when was the
How many
last
years?
time Jackson State was relevant before prime?
Relevant to you or relevant because the
In
media
this
made it?
millennium,
We just
in this
speaking on
millennium,
just
in this
what we're talking
millennium.
about for the
When
sport.
The
is it?
media doesn't talk. The media doesn't give HBCUs that attention.
I'm
Okay.
not talking about. Okay, listen.
He's saying
I'm talking
wins
about
and losses.
strictly
When's the
football.
last time?
strictly
That's all
football.
he's
When
saying
was
is wins
Jackson
and
State
losses.
at the top of anything before prime.
We don't talk about HBCUs unless we're losing.
But we're in the barbershop and we're talking between us. We're not talking to the white media. We're asking
But
a
do
question
you watch
between us.
HBCU football?
When is the last time that Jackson State had a winning record?
Before
Jackson State-
prime.
Before prime.
I'll research it for you.
That's
I'm like
that's what
Marcus.
just
I'm a
trying to find
preview
out.
person.
Right. We only pay
Right,
attention
but
to our
listen.
schools, and
I'm
when
not
we
trying
get
to make
together,
this
we
about the
talking
school
crap
you
at
went
each
to.
other.
We're talking about the topic of Deion and Jackson
Right.
State.
It's like
But
you
you
want
know
to
what?
talk. it's
Candy
like-
brought
it's
up an interesting point.
She did.
brought up
and
an interesting point, fellas.
She did.
And we need to respect that. We need to respect
I do
that,
respect
fellas.
it, and she's bringing up a very good
No,
point.
no, no, no,
but
no, no.
it-
Listen
she's
to
bringing up a very good point. But you're trying to
When
talk
was
about
the last
you're-
time y'all watched the HBCU game?
that's avoiding
I
the
watch-
question. You're
that's
trying to talk about the Raiders and we're on the Dallas Cowboys
Hey,
show.
Greasy,
Hello.
nobody, Greasy,
I asked
nobody
y'all a
was
Come on
question.
home,
When
bro.
was the last time
Come
you
on
watched
home.
an HBCU game?
nobody
I'ma
was
say
paying
it.
attention. Nobody was paying attention to
Exactly.
HBCU games until
I watched them. I watched them
until-
every
until-
season.
Okay.
Deion showed up.
I
Nobody
wa-
was paying
no.
attention.
Okay.
Mark has been paying attention
Okay.
I
Mark.
believe
Okay.
And
Greasy
Because
is
because
money
Texas
where my
Southern
mouth
won a
is.
championship in
Listen,
2011, 2012.
okay.
The difference
Okay.
in this
Greasy.
whole conversation is
Okay,
that
Greasy.
Candy
And Prairie
and
won
Marcus
one in
both went to
2009.
HBCU.
Kansas.
Thank-
Okay. And
So we
Greasy's
were there
been
last
We've
year
been
to play
paying attention.
championship.
and Greasy's
Answer
been
the question.
And I
and
was
Greasy's
there.
been paying and Greasy's
2009.
and Greasy's been paying attention, but he don't know when the last time Jackson State had a winning record.
Because he went to TSU.
I-
He
Because
not
he
going
went to
I want to
TSU.
say, the last time they won a SWAC, I
Candy
want to
just
say it was
answered the
20.
question, y'all. She said 2009.
That was
No, that was
14.
for Prairie View.
Prairie View
Oh.
won in 2009. Jackson
We were talking
State
about our
won in
schools.
2007. They won
Okay,
a
so
SWAC title
so
in
stop right there. That's all I
2007.
need to hear.
About 16
So
years
Jackson
ago.
State hadn't
15
won
years.
anything since 2007. Come on. So we can't act like Deion didn't come in and change Jackson State. They hadn't won anything since 2007.
Come on
It's
now.
2022.
Come on now.
They won in 22 and they won in 21.
Come
I
on
got
now.
I
When's
got
the
one
last time
better. I
Colorado
got
won? Like, so he's the savior of
Yeah,
Colorado.
yeah. So when the last time
That-
Colorado won?
but
Never.
that's what they hired
Never.
him for. That's what
But
they
they
1990.
not gonna call him a
1990.
savior.
1990, Greasy.
That's a long ass time ago.
But I'm just saying that's the last time
And that
they
was
won
after
everything.
that was after Jackson
Won a
State
national
won
title.
when they last. Jackson State won in 2007. You talk about 1990. That's all
Right.
we're saying. So we
Right.
want when we
So-
put emphasis on us, We are so judgmental on us
Thank you.
because Colorado
Thank you.
sucks. Okay,
They
So-
do.
Colorado
in the
does suck.
Pac-12.
That's the reason why they went to Deion
Hey.
Sanders, because they just saw what Deion Sanders did to Jackson State.
And they're gonna use him up because now
Jackson State
Deion
used
brings
him
the
up.
crowd.
Jackson State
Jackson
used him
State
up.
used him up.
No, Jackson State didn't.
Yeah,
How
they
did Jackson
did.
State-
Why they did not? He donated half his salary to Jackson State, bro.
He chose that as a tax write-off. Let's
Because-
be business people.
Thank
Yeah.
you. He's
This
a
ain't-
businessman.
this
That
ain't
is not his
about
own.
kindness.
I understand.
This
So let
ain't
me ask
about
you this. Let me
kindness.
ask you this.
Okay.
Let me ask you this question then.
That's not his
So
only
the-
business entity.
So what
Exactly.
about the reports that after X amount of ticket sales, it was written in Deion's contract that he was supposed to get some of that money, and that money never showed up?
Well, what was the attendance? What was the attendance?
Oh, but
What was
it
the-
doesn't matter what the attendance is because
But it
Jackson
does.
State.
The
No. Stop. Hold on. It doesn't matter because Jackson State sells out every game, whether Prime there or not. So Prime was losing money.
What's the
that he
percentage?
never-
What percentage
No.
was he supposed to get?
He
What
was supposed-
percentage?
I don't know, but there's a report that he was supposed to get some money
A report from who?
from ticket sales.
Where's this report from?
Hold on.
Is it-
Hold on.
Is it a reliable resource?
Hold on, you gotta hear me out. There's a report that there was a whole bunch of money came up missing that Prime was due that he never got, and a whole bunch of funds was misused. So let's not act like Jackson State was sitting in the house eating her porridge.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I can care less about Jackson State. I just want to throw that out there. I can care less about Jackson State.
And let's not act like Jackson State was in the house eating the porridge, and Deion came blowing on this door and kicked it in and ate up all the porridge and ran out the back door. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that not one bit. That's why when the story first came out, he was like, ready to go. Yeah, I was ready to go too. But this story is a long way from being over.
I want to clarify something for all the listeners. I'm not here to protect Jackson State. I'm not here to protect Deion Sanders. What am here to pretend to protect is the meaningless jargon about him helping out HBCUs. No, he did not donate not one check to Texas Southern University. He didn't bring credibility to Texas Southern University. That's what I'm here for. So kill
Nobody
all
said he
that.
did that though.
So kill all that. So when we talk about
Yeah,
Prime,
nobody said that.
talk about Jackson State. Don't
No.
talk about HBCU.
Nobody-
Don't talk about
No.
Jackson
He
State.
did anything for
And that's how we're
Prairie
saying.
TSU.
Nobody on this panel said anything about him bringing.
All I hear is HBCUs. Prime did this for HBCUs.
That's-
No, he
that-
did that for Jackson State.
That's the
And he
narrative.
did it.
that-
Prime
okay.
did it for Prime.
That's
Like,
the
and I
narrative.
think for me, that's the problem that we're all missing. Like, let's call a thing a thing. Like, did he do some good things? He did, but ultimately, Prime does it for Prime and Shador.
And he
But-
told
what this
Jackson
is about.
State that's what
This
he
is
was
not
going
about
to do.
Philo.
But you
his
knew
other
that.
two
And
kids. This is
I'm
about.
sure.
But you knew that. So don't act surprised when it's about him.
And I'm gonna be
again,
honest. He's not gonna stay at Colorado.
He's
He's
not.
gonna make
He
his
shouldn't.
head Colorado.
Should
I
he?
think the end game for him.
Is the-
No, I'm not. I ain't against
It-
nobody getting their money. The end game for him is the NFL.
right.
Period.
So
And
he
the
goes.
reality.
So,
He doesn't
Hey,
even want to coach.
hey,
in the
didn't he
NFL.
say? Hey, didn't he say
He
in
didn't want to coach in
the,
the NFL.
on the 60 minutes? He said he didn't want to coach the NFL.
He doesn't
Yeah,
want that.
Yeah,
but
he just
again,
he said that.
Deion
I'm sorry.
leaves everything he touches a mess, and we cannot continue to ignore that fact.
And
He
not
left the
only
charter
that,
school in
Candy,
Dallas a mess. He
So
left
no-
the private
so-
school in Dallas a mess.
So now we're
Deion leaves
using the
things a mess.
same. So now we're using the same argument that kept him from getting the Auburn job, that kept him from getting the Florida State job. He's finally at a Power 5 school, which ultimately was what he wanted to do.
And
So
all
we're-
I'm saying is we shouldn't be shocked. So in all of this, as Marcus says, I could
Shocked
care
about
less
what?
about I could care less about Jackson State. For me, Prime is who I thought Prime was. So the whole idea of this
Exactly.
is for the kids, this is for Jackson
Oh no
State.
no 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 no
This
no
is
no! I
about
disagree with that. I disagree with that
Listen,
because Prime
I
is
live in
is
Cedar
for
Hill.
the.
I'm
I
from
understand,
Cedar
and
Hill.
I understand the charter school issues, the stuff like that. That happens, but you're also dealing with an NFL player who probably doesn't know anything about running a school. What
Well,
he knows
he's
is
also
football.
changing the dynamics, and you realize Colorado is changing their academic standards to get these
Right.
kids in. They're changing the academic standards. guys.
Exactly.
Because
Deion
college
is not
football
this, he's
is
not
big
this caring
business.
guy.
College
That's
football
business.
is big
He's a
business.
businessman.
That's
And
the reason why
business.
they're changing it.
Put it
So
like
Businessmen are slimy.
So they all right, they're slimy
if you
because they got to
think
make money.
if you think college football and then the NCAA changing the rules and pulling a little paper here and pulling a little paper there to make sure X and X get on the field and court started into with prime, it's the wrong conversation for you. And I mean no
Well,
disrespect
but
to
this is the
anybody
deal.
on the
No,
panel.
the entire
He will be in the
university
NFL.
is
He will
changing their
be in the
It's not
NFL.
a lot of these problems that are coming along with the NCAA. These are not prime time issues. These are not these things that are these are things that have been here before prime. Back when Eric Dickerson
After prime.
turned down the Corvette from Texas
But
A&M.
that's not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you guys is that Deion Sanders at the University of Colorado, they don't have programs for these young men who really don't want to go to college. They just want to play football and get degrees in general studies and African American studies. Those degrees do not exist at Colorado. Okay, so we're actually putting these kids in bad situations. You should go do your research and see how the university is changing their academic standards. They don't have a kinesiology degree. So these kids are going to be really screwed because they're not going to get educated also. This is not about Deion being a great guy. Deion is about Deion. This is a bigger picture that we need to look at.
Well, I think
So Deion is supposed to be the savior of all college football. Is that where we're going here?
I don't need him to save anything. I'm just telling you, it ain't what it looks.
What I'm saying is he still impacts these kids' lives. He's not sitting up here, and just doing Deion. He is doing things to benefit these kids, whether y'all like it or not, whether y'all agree with it or not. He is.
But he left me in Jackson, Mississippi. So I'm not Travis Hunter. I didn't get $1 million. He convinced me to come to Jackson State. He also told me don't get in the transfer portal because that's where you go to die. He's not helping everybody. This is about Deion.
But you can't help everybody.
You can't.
You can't save everybody.
You can't.
You can only save those who are willing to save themselves, and that's what Deion is trying to reach. That's why going to Colorado is going to help benefit those kids who are willing to save themselves, because he got to Colorado and what did he do? He told all them kids that ain't talking about what he's talking about, y'all might as well go ahead and hit that transfer portal now.
Because I got some dogs coming.
And so is that good for me as a student?
Exactly.
Is that good?
You're not looking out for me. You're looking out for Deion. And that's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
You're trying to tell me
why
Deion is looking out for these kids.
You know why Deion has to look out for Deion? Because if Deion falls, everything Deion is trying to do for these kids is going to fall too. Nobody else is doing what Deion Sanders did, or we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
But Big E though.
There you go,
E.
But Big
any of y'all teachers?
My mom was an educator for 40 years. I come from a family of educators.
And ask your mom. As teachers, we are some of the most unselfish people, because if we made decisions for us, most people wouldn't be in the classrooms. When you make decisions for other people, you sacrifice. Deion Sanders is not sacrificing anything.
Deion living in Jackson, Mississippi for 3 years was a sacrifice.
No, it wasn't. It was not.
How was that a sacrifice?
It was a
How was that a sacrifice?
For him to climb where he needed to.
It was a sacrifice.
All we know is
where he wanted to go.
Explain.
Let me explain real quick. Let me explain.
Explain that sacrifice. Living in Jackson, a multimillionaire who can live anywhere in the world, who's still making money, gonna go live in Jackson, which isn't the most attractive place in the U.S. Right. How is that a sacrifice? You being a millionaire?
Why?
When you can still have the same luxuries in Jackson, Mississippi that you would have in any other city. How is that? How is that? Break that down.
Do you, as a non-millionaire, want to go live in Jackson, Mississippi?
No. You didn't have to take the job.
That's apples and oranges, Big E.
It's
Big E, that's apples and oranges.
But I'm saying though,
nobody else wanted.
Look at how much you have to maneuver to continue to keep up that lifestyle in Jackson, Mississippi.
It's a
okay. Let me stop this right here. You talking apples and oranges, Big E. If I'm a millionaire, I can have the luxuries in Jackson. I can have the luxuries in Houston, Dallas, LA, New York.
There ain't no luxuries like that in Jackson, Mississippi.
I've been to Jackson, Mississippi.
I've been to Jackson
countless times. Countless.
Hey, I'm not trying to knock Jackson, Mississippi, but I think if you ask Deion Sanders, do you really want to live in Jackson, Mississippi? If it wasn't for the Jackson State job, do you think he'll be in Jackson, Mississippi?
But
The
it wasn't a
answer is likely
sacrifice.
no.
This
Hold
was
on,
his
let me-
opportunity.
It
Let me
is
ask
a
this, y'all.
sacrifice.
It wasn't a
That's not a
sacrifice. He wanted a
sacrifice to be a
job.
millionaire.
Yeah, we hold on, time out real quick. I'm gonna let Dre do his thing. We don't know what kind of Deion put up with down there in Jackson. So that's a broad statement to say that it's not a sacrifice. But I definitely we could say having whatever happened with his wallet here or there, or whatever happened to his son's car and all that, that's a hell of an inconvenience.
Let me say,
Deion was
How is
making
that
millions of
inconvenience to a
dollars
millionaire?
working for the
Hey,
NFL
listen, hold
Network.
on.
It has
It doesn't-
insurance. The insurance took care of it.
Wait,
It
just a second.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the insurance
How is
taking
that
care
an
of it.
inconvenience to a millionaire?
Marcus,
It doesn't.
Marcus, I'm about to answer your question.
It's principle. It's principle. Do you want somebody breaking in your stuff and taking your stuff?
But
If
had
I
they
was a
said-
millionaire, I
But
wouldn't
see,
care.
it ain't
I
even about
would.
that to me.
What a button that right quick.
That's
Let
a
me hit
small
this button
thing
on
to a
y'all
giant.
right quick, man. Can y'all hear
Thank you.
me? Can
Go
y'all
ahead.
hear me? I'm gonna say two things. One is it's not an inconvenience, and the reason it's not an inconvenience is because he did not have to take the job. Period.
Thank you.
It's not an inconvenience, so I can't agree with you on that one. It's not he inconvenienced himself by taking the job. And the
Thank
second thing I want to say is this: it's a flip side to all this stuff that we're talking about that we have not mentioned yet. And I will say this: how
What's
do
that?
we know that when he gets to Colorado, he can't open the door not for just other black players who couldn't get in, but for other black coaches to become other head coaches somewhere else? So let's hypothetically say he gets to Colorado, he flips that whole program upside down, right?
That's not even a hypothetical, Dre.
Hold on.
That's not even a hypothetical. He's taking 3 or 4 black
I
coaches
don't know
with
what
him.
he's gonna do at Colorado. We
But
But,
he
he
can
got
say
got,
more.
the
but the
same
black
thing that we
coach
said
in front of
about
him got
Jackson State.
fired for him to get hired.
If not more.
We can say the same thing at Jackson State. Everybody can say, "Oh, well, he could have got this and he would have." Well, he didn't. He got one primetime player, one in 3 years, one ESPN top 100.
And he's
So he
already
goes
got
to
like
Colorado.
5 now at Colorado.
Oh, he got
It's
5.
been
Okay,
3
cool.
days.
I missed the mark. So if he goes to Colorado, let's say he gets 25, and all of a sudden Colorado's doing their thing, and guess what?
Somebody refresh my memory.
Hold on, let me finish. And then all of a sudden he gets another offer somewhere else to go to another school. Guess what he can do? I can leave these coaches right here in Colorado. I can take a couple with me and go to this other school.
Mhm.
So
But
everywhere he
Colorado
goes,
ain't gonna keep him. Like
So-
I think some of this is like the university has
How
Deion
do you
doesn't
know,
get to
though?
make the decision. But okay, so I'm not just a female. Like I understand TV really well. I'm very close to that and sports. I'm also a coach. You don't get to make that decision who stays. You don't get to make that decision. And how many other black coaches do we see in college football? We're just starting to see them. Deion is not going to break in the doors. His boy Nick Saban that he does commercials with has already basically indicated with his unsubtle beef that he threw out at Deion, like, how dare you come in and try to knock on the door to get in our spaces? Power 5 was created for a reason. And I think we're sitting up here being delusional, assuming that Deion is about to change the whole surface of college football. He's in the Pac-12 with SC. SC got more money than Colorado could ever have to throw at players.
Thank
SC's
you.
leaving in 2 years. SC is going to the Big Ten in 2
Big
years.
Ten.
Okay,
They're
so
going
when
to the Big
Deion
Ten,
is,
but until
the
they
reason. It was an
do-
opportunity for him to take a program that was like Jackson
but let me
State.
but let me fill
Not-
you in. But let me fill you in on something, Ian, and the
What's
rest of the fellas out here. USC is a private school. UCLA is a public school, and I listen to ESPN LA every morning. They can easily back out of that.
They can.
They don't have to go.
But
Yes,
will it?
Deion gonna bring the hype, but like you said, okay, let's say they do leave in 2 years. What kind of record do you think he's gonna amass his first 2 seasons?
Better than 1-11.
He's not beating USC.
How?
He's not beating UCLA. He's not beating Utah. He's not beating Washington, Oregon State.
well,
not happening.
I ain't gonna go too deep on the Oregon State. I'm not going to make Oregon State have to be 95 Nebraska. He can get some wins in.
I'm gonna be honest.
Wins
I
against
don't
who?
know what his record is
What
going
he
to be
gonna
in his
get
first year
wins
at Colorado.
against?
Nobody knows what his record's gonna be.
Nobody knows.
He could probably beat
Yeah.
Arizona,
Hey,
Arizona
so-
State.
Yeah.
That's two right there.
So what you saying?
Yeah,
records,
Arizona
right?
just fired the other black coach of the conference in Herm Edwards. Like this is
Yep.
this is systematic. Like
Okay.
I get it, and we would
Question.
like for it to change.
How
But
long?
reality is what reality is.
How long was Herm Edwards at Arizona State without winning before they told him he had to go?
3 years. He wasn't there long.
Okay, so the bottom line is winning.
And not
If
only that,
it
they-
doesn't,
Bottom line,
they had a little-
the bottom line is winning. That's what I led the show with. That's
That's
the
the bottom line
dynamic.
anyway, Doc.
Winning.
Well, I'm gonna go out on the
We're
limb.
not talking about a school board.
Colorado
No
is not winning
disrespect
more
to
than 5
teachers.
football games.
We're not
the
talking
next 2
about
seasons.
we're not talking about a Fortune
Wow.
500 company, people. We're talking about if Deion goes to Colorado and he goes 8-4 in his first 2
He's not-
seasons.
he's not going
Breezy,
8-4,
give me time. Give me time.
Let's be realistic.
Stop trying to predict the future and listen to the content. If Deion
Okay,
Sanders
I
goes-
love when you do this, Doc.
if
I love
primetime goes to Colorado and he wins 8 games, his first 2 seasons goes 8-4, and he
Combined?
8-4 over the first 2 years. If you give me a chance,
So he gonna go 8-4.
if you give me a
season
chance,
one.
I'm gonna bring it home. If you give me a chance,
I'm trying to
bring
get
it
some clarity.
home. If you
I'm getting some clarity.
if you listen slow to speak, you'll catch it. If he goes 8-4 his first season, if he goes 8-4 his second season, if he goes 10-2 his second season, and he makes it to the whatever championship game,
You can
they're
forget
not
that.
gonna fire. They're not gonna fire Prime. Now if Prime
You can
goes
forget
out there.
that.
Now if Prime goes out there and he go 2-10, 2-10, and 4-8,
That's what's gonna happen.
he's going to go. That's not a mystery. That's the dynamic that's missing. Period.
Anybody.
it sounds like
And if he was
wishing that
losing,
on Prime.
and if he was losing at Jackson State, they would
I
have
love-
fired him
I love Deion. I love
because
Deion
he's not
to death.
swag. You can't have it both ways. You can't
I
say he's
love
not
Deion.
swag, but he's good enough to win for us. So let's keep him.
I love Deion, but I think me
That
and
ain't how it
King
works.
talked about it off air. This is not the right move. For the simple fact, Candy just said it. USC got more money than Colorado would ever see. And the thing about it is, I'm going to say it right now. I want everybody highlighted this date right now. He's not going to win more than 5 games next season. Year 2, he's not going to win more than 5 games. Years 3, if his ass is still there, is not going to win more than 5 football games.
And you know what? I'm gonna mark
It's
this
too much.
day. And you know what?
It's
I'm
too much.
gonna mark this day down, and I love it
Mark it down.
because guess what? It wouldn't be the first time you was wrong about something.
Well,
I
and
wasn't
guess
wrong
what?
about
And so-
Jalen Hurts.
And since y'all
You-
brought that up,
You
I
was
went to
wrong
check
about
Herm
Georgia
Edwards.
and Alabama
Herm
last
Edwards-
year.
What was Herm Edwards' record? He was 7-6
That's one
at
game.
Arizona.
You say he
That
was
one
7-6?
He was 7-6 year 1, 8-5 year 2. 2020 we went on COVID. He was 8-5 in the 2021 season and still got fired.
And still got fired.
This ain't just
But
about.
Herm Edwards got fired for different reasons, though.
So-
He had internal.
So you know how
conflict with
tough
his
it is.
staff,
So
and
I'm glad you brought
Antonio Pierce got in trouble for recruiting violations.
I'm
So there
glad.
was a lot of things that were going
So
on.
why
with
did
Herm
Charlie
Edwards.
Strong get fired?
I'm-
Why
I'm
did
gonna-
Charlie Strong get fired?
He went to the
Charlie
wrong
Strong got-
damn
He
school.
went to the wrong school.
He went to the
Hey,
wrong
what's the guy at
school.
man.
A&M that got fired?
That was-
What's
that
the
was a
brother that
bad
was at
hire.
A&M?
That
Kevin
was a bad
Sumlin.
hire all the way around.
Hey, Juice Man. What
Yes,
was the
sir.
guy? What was the brother that was at
Kevin
A&M?
Sumlin.
Sumlin.
Why did Sumlin get fired?
He didn't win enough
Because he
games.
started losing after Johnny Manziel left.
So what is Jimbo Fisher's record right about now?
That's
He needs to be
his
fired,
record
too.
ain't better than
He
Kevin
needs to be
Sumlin.
Terrible with a
fired
high
too.
payout.
But you know what?
Fired because you're gonna pay him.
But why we
difference,
act-
the difference
but-
between Sumlin and Jimbo Fisher is Jimbo Fisher came in with a national championship pedigree.
That's
And
it.
why are we acting? And why are we acting
But his
shocked?
why he got
record's
paid.
not better.
And why are we
It's
acting
not better.
shocked?
He
And
should
why
be
are we?
fired.
And why are we even acting shocked that Jimbo Fisher's getting the benefit of the doubt? Come on, man, that's elementary. Why are we acting? We know what that is.
I'm not.
Come on,
That's
man.
what we're
I'm not.
saying about Deion. Deion is not
That's what we're
going
saying.
to get that.
No,
That's what my
to me,
argument
it sounds
is
like that's
being-
what y'all are wishing on Deion.
No, I'm not
Because
wishing.
I'm wishing.
No, I'm very
You just said he's
factual.
not going to win more than 5
Yeah,
games.
you just said it with conviction. He's not going to win no more than 5 games.
He's not.
going to
That's
win 5
realistic.
games. He's
He's
gonna
not.
get fired.
That's football. If you
That
watch
is
football.
not
He's
realistic.
not winning 5
So
games.
first of all,
That's
let's.
not realistic. You
So
don't know.
first of all,
Okay, so let's
So
go
let's-
around
let's
the
look at-
table.
let's
Let's
look
go
at it.
around the table. Let's go around the table.
Okay, we're gonna
Let's
do
go
that. We're
around
gonna
the
do that.
table.
We're gonna do that.
I
'cause
want
this is-
everybody to give Deion's record year 1 and year 2. Everybody, just go.
Okay, but
Fire
before we do that, I just want to say it's a good. This is a very, 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 very good show.
I'm loving
And
it.
I love the content. And it's all love, Candy Lynn. It's a blessing always, Big E.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
And I appreciate this is good stuff. It's good stuff. but let's
Hey,
just be
Doc,
real.
don't forget what I said, man.
Let's just be real here. It's
Let's get the records out. Why we
before we
holding
get
that
there, let's not act like Colorado is the cream of the crop.
No,
For real.
that ain't what I said.
You can't.
I want to hear some records.
I get
I wanna
that.
hear some
Okay,
records.
I ain't gonna do that. That's kind of rude of me to say. But let's be real now. Let's not act like Colorado.
Be real.
Let's not
gonna
act
go-
like Colorado is LSU or Florida State. Okay. Now let me ask you another question before we get into these picks. What other selling tool does the University of Colorado have to depend on to get a kid to come to Boulder to play football other than Coach Prime?
That's all I got.
Damn show ain't the weapon.
What is Colorado? What? Even before Prime got there, I have a hard time figuring out how Colorado recruited anybody.
Well, they did.
Right.
That's why he basically
That's a
told
good
everybody,
question.
if
That's a good
you're
question.
salvageable, we'll take you. They didn't recruit. That's why they ain't win this year. They suck. There's
Okay,
a
so
reason.
now-
They've been sucking for a long time.
And they needed a savior, so they hired Dion.
So they have Prime.
Fired the black coach that was there before to put Dion in the city. First of all, they leaked the information. Dion hadn't even won the SWAC championship, and all of a sudden we know that Dion is going to Colorado.
You know what I'm
You think
thinking?
Dion
They do
did
with
that?
every coach, though.
You know what
They do with
I'm.
every coach.
That was sabotage.
You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm thinking? The University of Colorado is hoping that Dion can bring some South Florida boys up there and make something happen.
That's it.
I'm still waiting for these records.
That's
in
it.
these
When they
first
gonna
two
get these records out because ain't none of this gonna matter in 3 years because
Yeah, it will. Because it will.
I think this year, based off just Prime being there his first year, Prime may get 3 or 4 weeks. And if you paid attention to anything I said about a recruiting class and how long it takes to gel, you're right, Marcus. Prime might not be there long enough to see any of this come to fruition. Because Texas A&M, again, is a prime example. You can have 45
You gonna raise off the
and
Maggie.
get your ass beat the whole year. So Prime very well may bring in the Travis Hunter and 3 or 4 more of them other cats and some of these South Florida players the goons that's down there that don't have the grades necessarily, and they go and they turn their lives around. He may bring in 10 or 12 of those cats. But he could still lose like a lot of ball games, and by the time they get good, Prime could be on his way out the door. So I'm gonna go 4-8. I'm gonna go 5-7, and then I think Prime may get him a 9 or 10 win season just because eventually, sometimes the ball bounces your way. There you go. And guess what? It still might not be good enough for him to keep his job. And I agree with you, Candy, on that.
I give him 2 wins next season. Looking at his schedule, I'll give him maybe Colorado State and maybe Arizona State. Everybody else, TCU, Nebraska, Arizona,
suck.
Oregon
He
State.
might be able to get Nebraska.
Yeah, they
Nebraska ain't
trash.
been Nebraska. and
Candy
God
the
knows
pull
how
up
long.
But
the
here's
damn
the
schedule.
thing. Everybody's coming for Dion because Dion's Dion.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
That's the
true.
reality.
That's
so
true.
everybody's
It's
gonna
gonna
throw
be
every
hard.
dollar to make Dion look bad.
It's gonna be hard, brother.
And y'all keep saying South Florida boys. Isn't it in a young African American male's best interest who's never left South Florida to be in Colorado where they really don't want us there?
I would say this. If you from South Florida, knowing what I know now, it's probably always best to leave home.
It's best to leave home, but I had a student. Quick story. I had a student that went on a recruiting trip to Colorado earlier in the year. Top tier academic student, but behavior issues. Went to visit, came back. I said, "Hey, how was your trip to Colorado?" He said, "I was there and they were racist to my black friends. I ain't going to school up there." So is it, even though it's better to leave South Florida, are we always putting these kids when we're recruiting them for football in environments that are productive for them? Because we're also taking them into worlds that they know nothing about.
That's true. And I was just talking to somebody about that's the problem with a lot of Texas A&M players getting arrested. Like
Because
that's
they're
nothing
racist.
to do with Bryan College Station. Like
That's
period.
the beauty of a HBCU.
Okay, so Cedric Lewis just said he just flipped a top 20 commit from IMG Academy, who was going to A&M to come to a 1-year team. So he's flipping them. So
He didn't flip them. A&M flipped them. A&M sucks right now.
He said he just flipped a commit from IMG who was going to go to A&M to come to a 1-win team. Well, A&M is not really doing that much better than Colorado, right?
Exactly.
Well, let's see what's going on with these records. Big E,
what you got?
And Dre, how y'all see these first 2-3 seasons?
Listen, bro, I don't expect them to win out the gate. I mean, that's just the truth. That's just the nature of the beast. He's got to get his kids.
I didn't ask you all that. I asked for records.
I don't give a damn what you asked me for.
I asked for records. I didn't ask for this long, drawn out explanation.
Listen, I don't give a damn what his record gonna be, man. I want him to be successful in Colorado because I believe he can help other people however he can help them. I don't give a damn if it's educational wise. I don't care if it's getting them to the
Does that translate to win?
Black coaches in. That's all I
What
care
did he
about.
say? Elevate or terminate?
Hey,
And that's true.
well, I answered your question.
Anyway,
bro.
since
I
he
don't know
ain't
how
answered,
many
what's up, Juice and E? He going all around the world with it. I'm trying to get to the bottom of something. I'm trying to make a point.
Hey,
How you feel, Juice?
I'm gonna go ahead and keep it simple, man. I mean, it's gonna take a while for him to build his program, but I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna give him 5 wins. I say he 5-7.
5 wins.
His first
Okay.
year. His first year.
What about year 2 and 3, Juice?
I'm gonna say year 2. I think he'll go 5-7 again, and then maybe 8-4 his third year.
And that might not be good enough.
It might
Big
not
E,
be good enough.
how you feeling?
Honestly, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think each one of his years are going to be better than 1-11. Simple as that. If that translates, every year is going to be 1-11. He's going to be better than 1-11, which is what we have right now. So if that translates to him going 8-4, 7-5. You know, honestly, I don't really. It's not, to me. It's not even about that point right now. I think it's just about him having the opportunity to do something bigger than what he was able to do at Jackson State. I feel like there was only so high he could go there. You know what I'm saying?
But
so now he has an opportunity to take it to the next level. And if he turns around and he chunks, you know, $1 million or $2 million back to Jackson State for saying, "Hey, I appreciate that opportunity." What is there to be?
They don't turn it down.
But Big E,
sure
it goes
they
back.
probably won't do it because they owe him. You know,
But Big E,
They do owe it.
But Big E, this goes back to what you had initially asked. This is why I asked for the record.
How you gonna be mad at somebody for leaving and you owe them money? But anyway.
No, the thing about it is, I'm referencing to what he asked earlier. What would have been the best thing for him to do? My opinion would be to stay, still recruits, as Candy stated, or as I stated, get these blue chips. When you make Jackson State a powerhouse. Then you put it, because remember, he had an issue with going play for the money. He's like, nah, I'm not going to get my team beat up like that. Just go get a check. Make your team a powerhouse. Then when you play Alabama, you play Colorado, you beat the hell out of them.
Hey, Greasy.
That's a good statement. But how long was that going to take? He got 5 top.
I would say 2 more years.
And
I would
I'm
say
gonna be honest
2 more seasons. 2 more seasons, he could have achieved that.
Because he would have beat a lot of these schools now.
I'm gonna be
honest. He would have beat Colorado.
Yeah, he would have. He would have beat
Colorado. What y'all have to understand is, Greasy, that's what you wanted him to do. Candy, that's what you wanted him to do. That's not what Prime wanted to do.
I mean,
yesterday's
price wouldn't be today's price had he done it a little bit more.
But
$5 million would have been
Big N. Right now, I got a question for everybody.
All right.
Coach Prime is at Jackson State.
Okay.
They just won the SWAC tournament, right?
Okay.
They're gonna play Colorado in the I don't know, the
Oreo cookie bowl.
The blue emerald. The blue emerald bowl. Who y'all got? If Jackson State plays Colorado, who do you have?
But see, this is the thing though, is Dion
I didn't ask you
Was it-
all that, Big E.
But,
I ain't
but
asked you that.
let me interject.
You got. I
Dion was
asked who you
not.
got.
Dion was not trying to compare what he was doing to a 1-11 Colorado. He was trying to get on the level of a Nick Saban. In order for him to get on that level of a Nick Saban,
He had to go up there.
He had to go up to the next level.
I think
He said it. That's the reason why he didn't want to play any of them schools. I'm not fixing to take my team out here to get mollywopped for a little freaking.
So why is he comparing?
I think.
So why is he comparing himself to Nick Saban?
I think from Prime's perspective, not only mentally and physically what it can do to a football team that you're trying to build confidence in, to go in there and get beat 78-0 and you busted up and you beat up, and then come back and tell them, well, they're not really that much better than us. Go send some ice and we'll be better next Saturday. From Prime's perspective, what would Alabama give Jackson State for them to come beat the hell
What's
out
the
of them?
benefit? What's
$750,000. Prime could have gave the university that money
But he
out
did.
He could
of his pocket.
But he did.
Right.
So those $750,000 that y'all are talking about aren't
Whoa,
needed.
time out.
Wait,
Yes, he did.
Hold on,
Yes,
y'all.
he did. Yes,
It
he
may
did.
not have been a dollar amount, but
It
it was
may
the
not, but
time,
he-
the effort,
but
energy,
but
all that he
you-
put into it.
Hold on,
But
hold
if
on.
you're
More than
turning down money,
Prime,
don't- he's
Prime,
turning down money. If you're
Prime,
turning down those checks,
Prime
then what are you
bankroll,
doing for
Prime bankrolled the upgrading of the athletic facilities that have been there since
he
19.
wrote it off as a
43.
tax write-off, y'all.
Right.
Stop
What do you
saying
think?
it
What do you
like
think
that was
anybody
a
else
doing
is
it
going
from
to
the
do if
kindness
they
of his
give that
heart.
money? They're going to write it off.
Candy.
Anybody that
Candy.
donates to a university is going to write that money off.
That's just the nature of the beat.
Right.
So let's get to the bottom. Let's get to
Hold on, Doc.
let's get
Hold
to. I got a question.
Hold on.
I
Let
got
me
a
address
question.
Candy right quick because she
Okay.
said something that I want to address. The problem is this: what Prime said is it's not worth me putting my guys to get them hurt on that field against a bigger, stronger, faster team just to get $750,000.
No.
I'm not gonna pimp my
No.
team out and my kids out for $750,000 when you're paying, let's say, Appalachian State $1.5 million to play against them, but you're gonna play us and pay us $750,000, and I have a potential to get my kids hurt and my players. No, I'm not gonna do that.
So
You
That
don't
doesn't
play
make
your
any
stars
sense.
in that game.
So I applaud them for
Prairie View
not.
played A&M
I applaud them
last
for
year.
not taking the check.
And I hear you. I hear you. Until it's a business decision that needed to be made. And then you're talking about the fields. That's where the extra allocation for the budgets come up. Look up what
But at
Jackson
what
State.
cost?
Look at what Prairie View played A&M last year. No one got all this injury that's done, that extra revenue. They have to play at the next level. They need to know what the stadium looks like and feels like. They need some additional TV coverage at times. This is how we're doing the same thing in college basketball.
Money.
So
Everything in sports is about
TV
money.
coverage they needed.
yeah, so I have a question, and we're gonna get up out of here and see what happened when we get in and get to going. Man, we get to going. We've been in this thing an hour and a half, but that's what happened. It's the reason why I wanted Candy and Big E in here with the fella tonight, because I knew it was gonna go down. I knew it was gonna go down, but I have a serious question though. So when and where was Jackson State gonna come up with the money to keep Prime? How long do you think he was gonna do this out of, since he's such a bad guy? How long do you think he was gonna do this out of the kindness of his heart?
He's not a bad guy.
Okay.
No, I'm not. Like I said, I'm not.
Okay, so
here to represent Dion or Jackson State.
So for his labor, where and how much, since it's all a tax write-off, when was some of his money gonna start funding actually back?
If he's so much about the kids,
he would just do it for free. But y'all don't even want him.
No.
He's not swag.
I didn't say free. If you're so much about the kids, it doesn't matter what dollar amount you're getting paid.
But you really don't even want him
about the kids.
But you really don't even hold on. And then we're gonna get up off here for real. Okay, I'm in Prime and I'm trying to I'm putting myself like in Dion's shoes, just so to speak. I'm having a hard time comprehending what I'm hearing. Okay, I want to do something for the kids, and yet white people told me no. But I really, really want to show these white people that I know what I'm doing and I'm capable. And if you give me a shot, I can get with Nick Saban and all this stuff. And I know they won't give me a chance, but I need to go get my weight up. That's basically what they told. So I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna come to black people, and you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna build up something, and yeah, we can change the dynamic. But I really, really want to show these white people I got something. I got something. You're not gonna just keep kicking me out. So I'm gonna come there. Oh, you don't got the money, and we can't stay at some of these hotels, and you can't even afford the dinners to feed the football players after games. I got that. The uniforms and stuff breaking down. I got that. You see what I'm saying? And then, okay, I'm with the football team. Okay, I'm at an HBCU. I'm supposed to be around my people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to do something for the cause. And whether I'm at home or whatever, I'm still under HBCU's hand, and something gets stolen from me, and my son's car get broken into. And then you write in my contract, I'm entitled to this, and that. And some of the money come up missing. And I'm supposed to stay loyal? I'm supposed to stay loyal? Now,
Your loyalty.
now, Prime does need to say with a heartfelt welcome. And like I said, like Ian said, we don't know. We don't know what Prime gonna do with that $5 million. We don't know. But he does owe Jackson State a thank you. But again,
No, he doesn't owe them.
Yeah, he do.
He doesn't.
Yeah, he do.
No, he
that would be to me. That would be
them nothing.
to me. That would be very, very tasteless to say, "Hey, I learned this from you. You gave me an opportunity to show. You gave me the opportunity. You gave me the opportunity to show what I could do, and I left. I gotta at least say thank you. It would be tasteless, in my opinion, to say it. But at the same time, you really, really never made me feel welcome. You really
Why, as a people, do we always feel as if someone owes us something?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
So therefore, he doesn't owe them a thank you.
That's
you don't
courtesy.
owe them nothing.
That's courtesy, baby. That's courtesy, baby. That's courtesy.
Courtesy is giving away his entire salary.
On one hand,
even though it's for tax purposes.
On one hand, you're saying he ran back to the black folks because the white folks didn't owe him, but he's not supposed to say thank you?
I'm in the gray area.
Okay.
I'm in the gray area.
I'm in the gray area.
Can I ask Candy and Greasy a question?
Sure.
What's that?
Okay. So say I'm a young, African American coach. I have a heart for kids. I love the game. I deep down I want to coach Power 5. I just want an opportunity. I feel like the two of you are saying that if you're a black coach, you want to be a head coach, you should avoid the Power. You should avoid the Power 5 schools because they're not going to want you. You should just stick to HBCUs. That's what I'm hearing from you. Am I wrong?
Am I wrong? Interpreted it that way. I really hate that you interpreted it in my conversation and dialogue in that manner. For me, what I'm saying to you is, and I am an alum who has parents that sit on boards, athletic boards. What I'm saying is for those coaches that you're not coming to HBCUs to give it your all, because when we go to HBCUs, the teachers that I had coach my parents. My father was recruited on his doorstep smoking a dang on cigarette by a coach who drove his own car, who fed kids. Deion wants to take kids to the restaurant. Your budget does not allocate for that. And Deion had access to that budget.
Fed kids out of his pocket.
But he didn't feed them at 5-star restaurants like Deion does. See, if you want to put on a show,
you don't have to be
you got to put on a show out of your pocket. Because your food, you know what they get? They get chicken. They get Frenchies when they go to Houston and Prairie View's playing Texas Southern. You got to do what the budget allocates. And that information is public record.
Amen.
The Jackson State budget, Prairie View has the highest budget in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Deion knew what he was getting himself into. So what I would tell a young African-American coach is Deion has actually put a bad taste in people's mouth because we see how you're going to walk it. See, if you walk it, you got to talk it the way you walk it. So if you're coming to us to be what our coaches are to us, which is legends, their names go on buildings. They feed kids. Prairie View's track coach, he could go anywhere else, but he's going to stay at Prairie View because he is swag. That's what we're looking for. Once you've done your time and you've built a program, you're coming to be a coach and you've done all you can do, everybody has a right to move on. But don't use us to get where you need to go. And that's your only objective while you're there. This was a primetime show. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, don't come tell me that I'm going to go look and see if the Power 5 has already rejected you. If you want to get your foot in the door as a coach, you want to be a graduate assistant, come holler at us. But don't come talk to us after the Power 5 told you no. After your alma mater told you no. After Texas told you no.
No, let him finish.
Don't come holler it. Don't come to us after the fact. Don't use us.
Fair enough.
Let them hire you.
Fair enough.
That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. So what I'm hearing is, and we finna get on up out of here, and this both
still got a question.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, Dre. Go ahead, Dre, so I can wrap this up.
So for me, it's kind of like this. If I have a dream and I aspire to do whatever it is I'm aspiring to do, if somebody tells me no, do I now have to change my dream because this person said no? Or do I not keep fighting? Or do I not keep fighting for my dream? And my dream is to do X, Y, Z, whatever it is. Just because that door closed on me, that don't mean another one ain't gonna open.
Let me answer this question.
Let me answer the question. So I'm not gonna give up on my dreams, on what I want to do with my personal life. Now, in reference to what you were saying, Candy, I totally get it. I totally get it. And what I will say to what you just said a second ago about the SWAC is Jackson State dropped the ball. Because if Jackson State is thinking the way you're talking, hey, we are SWAC. Our guys come here. We want coaches that's going to come here, build a program, be here for 10, 15 years. Jackson State dropped the ball because they knew they knew Prime wasn't coming in to be here for no 10 years. They knew that. It was known from jump. It wasn't a secret.
That's why they dangled the carrot.
I'm a backdoor Dre.
They dangled it in Mississippi.
Jackson State dropped the ball on
I
all
agree.
of this.
But who's the easiest people to go play with? Them people down in Mississippi. Everybody in the SWAC know that.
Let me backdoor this.
In reference to what you're saying, I'm still saying I'm gonna pin it all on Jackson State. Because if Jackson State is SWAC like you're talking, I feel you. I feel your heart and passion for Prairie View. Jackson State dropped the ball because they knew damn well they shouldn't have hired a guy.
They shouldn't have hired.
Not going to be there and be SWAC.
How you
not going to be that.
Hold on. Let me backdoor.
How you gonna get mad at a lion for biting you?
Let me backdoor. Let me backdoor this, y'all. Let me backdoor this. I think King, Doc, and y'all are missing the big picture about this. It's real weird. It's like when you try to do things on your own as a young adult and you fall back on your parents. Let me tell you something. Them folks shut the door in his face. I'm gonna stay in this gray area. I'm not gonna side with Jackson State. I'm not gonna side with Prime. I'm gonna stay in this gray area. They shut that door, bro. He is not right. Not right because you're gonna come back. You're gonna come back to our people. Our people. The people that look just like you to get to where you need to go.
That stole from him.
So I get that. To go rub elbows with those that turn their back on you.
That broken his son.
Does that make sense?
Greasy.
Does that make sense?
I get exactly what you're saying, bro.
That don't make that's wrong.
So then why did Jackson State hire
when you out here doing
hire a non-SWAC guy?
But he's supposed to accept it because
why did they hire a non-SWAC guy?
That's what I let you off with, Drake.
When you are out here doing wrong, this is why I talk about this Colorado record. When you out here doing wrong and using people to get to where you need to go because it's your dream, I get it's your dream. Don't expect for nothing to go right. Period. You want to do wrong, don't expect for nothing to go right.
Each other, y'all. Don't act like Jackson State didn't benefit.
Jackson State benefited.
That's what I'm.
Jackson State.
That's what I'm getting at.
Jackson State is going to be okay, whether they have a losing season or winning season. They were there before Prime. They're going to be there
They're
after
gonna be there.
Prime.
We're
They're
not
going to
talking
be
about the
okay.
institution being there. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the football program.
My brother,
period.
if you give me
We ain't saying they
more
gonna
time to
leave.
talk instead of cutting me off, you will understand where I'm coming from. That football program made it before him. They're going to make it after him. They're going to be okay. Prime, on the other hand, like you said, it's my vision to get there. When you stepping on people, when you burning them bridges,
What bridge did he burn?
I
don't expect that. It's a colloquialism.
think
Let's get that straight. But when you out there doing things to benefit yourself, it's not gonna work out.
What did he?
It's not gonna work out.
Hold on, Doc. Hell no.
Not-
What did he
not
do
gonna work
wrong?
out.
Dre. Bro, we going on almost 2 hours. Like, I get it. It's been a good time, but we gotta wrap this thing up. We can do a part 2. We can do a part 2.
Guys.
This has been a great conversation. We can do a part 2.
It's been amazing.
We seriously can. I love this, but we going on 2. Like, hey, we could run it back next week. What y'all say?
To be continued.
To
be
do a part 2
continued.
because this has really been.
Let him get out what he got to say. Let him get out what he got to say, and then we'll close it out. Let him get out what he got.
Well, no, I was just trying to figure out what he did wrong, because the way you say that, you insinuate that he did some dirt to somebody at Jackson State. He did them dirty, and then now he's moving on. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. The way you say it.
He did.
He's
I got
licking
one
his
point to make
wounds.
I got one
He's
point to
licking
make
his
to Greasy.
wounds, depending on his people, to get him to where he need to go, brother. That's what he did.
And I have this one point to say real quick. And as far as him being turned down from other Power 5 schools, I don't recall Colorado ever offering him the job.
Exactly. And that make it worse.
How does that make it worse, though?
Because Colorado sucks. Like Candy said, they suck.
I think
And you don't. And Florida State sucked.
I
If
think
anything, you needed a savior. Jackson State didn't need no savior. They didn't need a savior. They're in the swag.
The program hadn't won anything since 2009.
by the sound. Okay, let me just.
Colorado ain't won since
By
1990. And when the last time Florida State won a chip?
Right.
2013.
When the last time Florida State won?
They won in 2013. They won the championship in 2013.
How long ago was that?
It was a whole lot
8
sooner
9
than
years.
2009.
Oh, wow.
By
4
some of
years.
the
4 years. Wow.
by some of the
Big ass
narrative,
difference.
by some of the narrative, and it's not been in here. I think it's been a fruitful conversation again. By some of the narrative, just trying to gather information, and some of the stuff I've said has been kind of my own thoughts. Some of the stuff is just kind of formulating or kind of Cliff Notes version of what other people said. But I'm glad I was able to put it together with y'all, like, for real. What I'm hearing, Dre, I totally agree with you. At the end of the day, Prime told you who he was, and he bit you. But we're not gonna act like Jackson State is totally innocent. They both benefited off each other. That's the end game, people. That's the end game. Young men, young women, they put their bodies on the line for these schools and these collegiate, black, white, Asian, or whatever. If you get hurt, 9 times out of 10, if you're not there for the education and what the benefits of having an education, and you get to doing other stuff, they're gonna get you up out of there. That's just the nature of the beast, right? So we know that's what coaches can only sell you on tomorrow. It's cool if I can come to the University of whatever and say, hey man, I got this 7-year plan and I'm gonna recruit all these kids and and in 7 years I'm gonna have you 2 national championships. That's cool. But what if my starting quarterback, who I've invested all this in, goes left and the offensive lineman go right and they break his leg and he gone? I can only sell you on tomorrow. So again, we're not gonna act like Prime did this. We're not gonna act like Jackson State was totally innocent. We're not gonna act like Prime wasn't Prime. And we're not gonna act like We're not gonna get into all that. But what I'm hearing from Candy Lynn and Marcus is, and I'm not saying I'm having a problem, but it's alarming, is that it's kind of like I'm in the grave.
That you what?
That y'all both said that y'all was kind of in the grave.
In the grave.
In the grave.
In the grave.
I mean, yeah, because we can agree to disagree. Like, right? We can love Prime and then call Prime out. So we don't have to be on one side of the coin. And that's the great part about conversations and the way we see the
And
world.
all of y'all were on one side of the coin.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
no, no,
on
no,
one
no,
Make
no.
side
that
of the
clear.
coin.
Oh,
Just to make that clear.
I
We
think that-
are HBCU graduates,
I
so
think-
we are SWAC. We speak from a position of SWAC. Marcus and I have lineage as far back as the early 1900s SWAC. Like we loyal to this thing, right? So I
Right.
know
Gotcha.
that everything that Jackson is going to be Jackson, and Mississippi is Mississippi. That's how we think about them in the SWAC.
I think the context. I think I should have put that in context better as far as the great. Like I said, this is a beautiful and fruitful conversation. I think
Y'all were back in prime.
I think I'm gonna say it like this. I don't think Prime, but I don't think Prime sold them out. I think Jackson State sold themselves out because they, at the end of the day, hey, if a snake is hissing in front of you and you decide you want to go out there and play with it, he might not bite you that first day, and he might not bite you that second day. But damn it, one day he gonna strike you.
So,
But I feel like you're saying the exact same thing we're saying. We're all like on that we agree. Like
So
Prime
for
time
that,
is
so
a
for
character.
that,
so Doc,
so
what
They
for
makes
this,
sold
this
you
right?
prime
so
time.
for that and that reason alone, I'm not saying the only thing I say Prime, due to the dynamic that Prime is a football coach, and due to the fact that they're keeping score, which was the basic and the beginning of my point, was due to the fact that he's in a business of wins and losses, and they're gonna get you up out of there, and you knew that's what he was. I say the only thing Prime could have done and should do is he needs to tell them people things. Like seriously.
Okay, let me hurry up put this in here so we can get on out of here. When Prime was a young man coming out of high school, he passed over HBCU. When Prime wanted to coach, why didn't he go to the HBCU first? Why did he go to the big boys first?
Because that wasn't his dream job. He didn't
No,
want to go to
I didn't say that. Don't cut me off. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You passed over him twice. Then when you fall on your ass, now you come with your hand out. Thank you.
And then now they say
Thank
you
you.
saved us.
Maybe he want to skip the line like Jeff Saturday, and us as black people shouldn't have a damn problem with it. But we're gonna get on up out of here. This is the Just Know Sports Show. We appreciate y'all joining in and y'all riding out. This has been a beautiful show, like for real. We might have to run this back as part 2. Candy Lynn.
To be continued.
For real. Big E, for real. Like everybody really didn't even get to say what they had to say. Next time, I'm probably just gonna get in here and shut up because I know I was really foaming at the mouth to talk about this thing. But like for real, from the heart, Candy Lynn, Big E, Greasy the Don, Coach King Drake, we can run this thing back next week. It's just beautiful, but we gotta get up out of here, man. Like for real, it's all love. Y'all know what to do. That's every Friday night, 8 p.m. Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to slide on over to that Facebook page. Pull up the podcast, Candy Lynn. We'll holler.
Pull up the podcast.
Yeah.